Well, this hangout is live. Okay, here's our countdown. 3, 2, 1. We're already broadcasting, but it's private. And we're back.
Woo!
Hello.
That was our hold music that I was doing right there.
That was nice.
Beautiful. We're back, rack style.
Yeah, that's that's what I was going for.
Well, we
or maybe Ennio Morricone, via Danger Diabolique, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're finally back after a long hiatus again, an accidental hiatus. How long was it? 2 weeks did we take off?
We took off 2 weeks, and it was on my movie, so I'm kind of feeling vulnerable about that. A little hurt, maybe.
I would be too.
Yeah, it's kind of like let's rush into Dirty Dancing. Angel Heart.
Well, you've got a great hiatus, Kent.
That's what I've been told. Everything I can think of saying now I can't because I don't want it on recorded. So, hello everybody. Who are we?
Have you ever tried Hyanal? No.
Okay.
Again, not for the recording.
Well,
I have a Swedish friend
anyway.
who's named Great Anus, but
we are the pretentious movie snobs. I'm Dave Smith, the microscopically successful screenwriter and now self-published author.
Woo!
I've sold a few copies, just to listeners here and there. Maybe my dad, Kent, and his mom. Maybe Kimmy.
Hey, and my dad.
Me too. I'm gonna get it.
Oh, Kimberly's going to get it, and that lovely voice is Kimberly Blagrove. You see there with the yellow background. And Kent making a Wolfman face, Kent Conrad of ExplodedGoat.com, and a contributor to Cinema Centuries. Hi, Gordon. I just partied with Gordon last week, and he came over and hung out.
Did Gordon tell you that I'm late
Gordon.
on everything always?
He didn't mention that.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
He was pretty drunk. So no, he wasn't.
Oh, all right.
He was not drunk. Well, we are going to be talking about Angel Heart in our little sort of semi-series on
Johnny.
Oh, did you hear that?
Johnny.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear it.
Angel Heart.
Angel Heart. Yes. It's a movie that is well loved in certain circles, but kind of forgotten in most circles, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about it and tell you why you should think it's bitchin' too and why you should go watch it.
Are we gonna have a spoiler lounge?
We might have to go to Spoiler Lounge.
I think we'll have to go to the spoiler lounge like 6 minutes in.
Well, yeah. Well,
it's hard to talk because the movie, it's got a twist at the it's like, I feel like a jerk even saying it's got a twist at the end because then you're looking for it when you start watching it. Though if you're kind of a careful observer, you see it in like the second scene. But yeah.
We'll talk about Noah first, too, then, because I just wanted to mention that one. And then maybe we'll go to the Spoiler Lounge for a big talk about Angel Heart. It's an old movie, so maybe everybody will come into the Spoiler Lounge with us.
No, I think we should spoiler lounge it because even though it is an old movie, it's exactly that hidden gem that a lot of us may not have given the time of day. And I'm glad I didn't know and even though I did figure it out. So
right, but that's one of those. It's one of those movies where I didn't know how it ended. I first heard about it, and I'd read someone say, in the end of this, don't let anyone tell you how it ends. Kill them first. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to. But then I looked at one small, I have a big encyclopedia of horror movies, one small capsule review of it, where the guy didn't like it, so that he decided it didn't matter if in the first sentence he tells you how it's.
Oh, asshole.
That happens to me so much. Anyhow, Angel Heart. Noah. Pretentious movie stops.
That's us.
Imperatives with exclamation points. Yeah, so we're going to be chatting about those two and probably a few other things, but
yeah. Before we get into before I play my a song that I made for the podcast.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right.
Movie-related song. Actually, Kent's going to play it for me. I wanted to maybe go through some entertainment news if we have any. I don't know. There's probably lots of stuff happened, but we always forget. We don't know. Anything anybody wanted to talk about entertainment news-wise?
I know an actor recently passed away, but I cannot remember his name right now.
That's the shame of it, because he was really good at being that guy.
Every movie.
I think I remember him. Yeah, I think I remember him too. None of us know his name. It's awesome.
He had a really terrific role in The Game. One of my favorite. David Fincher's follow-up to Seven.
I love that movie.
I'm vamping right now while I go and find him.
Yeah, look him up because everybody comes here for their what was it?
James Rebhorn.
There you are.
Rebhorn. He is in tons of stuff. He had a regular role in Homeland recently. He was in Independence Day. He was the Secretary of, I think, Defense, who was kind of the semi-bad guy. He was in The Box, which is an interesting, though not great movie. But he is in a million things.
Yeah, major.
I love how you knew who that was that I was referring to.
Because he's that guy. He's the guy who you've seen him in a million things. He was in the last episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah, the Seinfeld is what I remember him from.
I'm going to venture a guess as to cause of death. I'm going to say lack of oxygen to the brain.
That's
Melanoma.
He was in his mid-60s.
He was young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lack of oxygen. Are you assuming an autoerotic asphyxiation?
No, that's pretty much it covers you for all death because that's what death is. It's when
ultimately heart
your brain
failure
stops getting oxygen. Right, but then oxygen would not pump to your brain, so that's why I said.
Okay, and he wrote his own obituary.
Wow,
that's one of the things I'm vamping now because I haven't read it and I don't know if it's amusing.
Yeah. Don't read it. It's not amusing, Kent.
Because I remember Dave tried one of those with the was it when Peter O'Toole died? We had the great Peter O'Toole stories. They were terrible.
Yeah, they're awful Peter O'Toole stories. Yeah, that was terrible.
I'm finding tons of stories about how he wrote his own obituary, but none of the frickin' obituary.
Oh, that's weird.
All right,
so I'm gonna.
Well,
okay. Well,
while Kent's doing that, I'm gonna tell everybody about my novel.
God, we suck.
It's finally out. I've been talking about it for so long, and finally finished.
Some goddamn autoplay video, Huffington frickin' Post.
Oh, I hate
God, that's the worst site on frickin' earth. This show is a shambles. Oh, I've ruined it.
They're a sponsor of ours, Kent.
Well, I want to ban them.
I was going to announce a new sponsor. Huffington
you have an
Post.
announcement?
I don't think we have them anymore.
Huffington Post, new sponsor, but hang on, I'm getting a text. They're done.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, can't fuck that up.
It was fun while it lasted.
Their check bounced anyway. So that was probably better that way. So did you find the obituary or anyway? My novel, my book is called Whiskey Tango. A whole nother kind of spy novel, and it's like a little spoofy kind of story. Like when I first imagined it was going to be something like imagine Larry the Cable Guy in a James Bond movie. So that's kind of what I went with. You know, he's a hillbilly. He ends up getting superpowers though, so he's actually, he's more like Superman. But they call upon him, the government, and he gets to go on a mission, and hilarity ensues. I hope with very few typographical errors, I hope. That's what you get when you edit the book yourself and have your dad and your mom and your husband, I don't have a husband, my wife read it. And then the head editor too, so there should only be like 3 typographical errors tops.
Dave assumes the notion that his wife is a pre-op transsexual just to be progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Just so he could be gay married.
Mm-hmm. I took her name to her last name. Actually, I took her first name and last name when we got married. I did not.
Hey! Anyway, this is exciting. The name of the novel is Whiskey Tango. His name on Amazon is D.W. Smith.
Yes. That's so you can
don't get confused looking
Amazon.
For Dave Smith. Yeah.
And I have my website. I have like a free website. I'll probably set up an actual website. But right now, I think it's like smashdoom.wix/Whiskey Tango.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it on the Wix sites there.
It'll be in our copious show notes that we do for every episode of Texas Movie Style.
I stay up till 4 a.m. compiling those notes at the end, so I hope people appreciate that shit. All right.
So anyway, I skimmed the obituary, and it's sweet, but we don't need to read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we got stuff like what movies did everyone watch in the 17 weeks since we last did this podcast?
Anyone?
Yeah.
I know a couple.
Yeah.
I watched Molière, which is a French movie with one of my new favorite French actors, Romain Duris.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, I did not know about Molière was that he was in a relationship with one woman and ended up marrying and having a child with that woman's daughter.
Kinky.
Wow, that's like some good August Strindberg action there.
So
but it's very
like the French
apropos.
Woody Allen precursor.
Kind of. Well,
Did he paint nudes of her first?
Were there nudes of her? Did he take nudes? I don't know about that.
Did he paint nudes of her first or something? When was Molière? I don't remember. What year are we talking?
Oh God, I don't even remember.
1600s or
something.
So
yeah.
he would have had to paint her instead of
Paint
take
them.
snapshots and Polaroids and hide them in Mia Farrow's dresser or whatever.
Well, maybe he'd like make wood carvings of her.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
just kinda,
Or write
chisel
about
and-
her because
Yeah.
he was a writer. But
So
he was.
he just described her naked. That's
He described her. But he was. I guess she was being. People were claiming she was, the sister, but really, I guess maybe this woman had her very, very young, and so she really was the daughter. And I think the even more bizarre is that the woman never stopped her or ended her relationship with Molière even after he got involved with the daughter.
ladies and gentlemen, that's called alpha.
Uh-huh. Good woman.
Yeah, she what are you doing with mother? What does it look like I'm doing? What? Yeah, what's it got to do with you and me?
Oh God, very progressive. And other than that, I watched on a whole other note, Zombieland, I guess, with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that movie.
I never watched it.
I enjoyed it.
The second thing, the second zombies became like for everybody. I pushed off of them.
I hear you.
I'm a horror hipster.
I appeared on Gray Drake's Popcorn Mafia podcast, and that was one of the movies we discussed on that show. And I think I was extremely unfunny and uninsightful. So sorry, Gray. We were drinking though. We drank. It was like 10 in the morning on a Saturday, and I got them drunk. So.
Nice.
I think at some point in that show somebody mentioned me, so it was a good show.
Yeah.
Aw.
I like being mentioned.
Kent Conrad.
Yay! Wow, this show is of interest to no one.
Do you like Hyanal?
I'm ruining everything.
Hyanal is going to be my callback every time we get in trouble.
Okay, good. That'll tell us we've gone too far. I need to roll it back. How about you, Mr. Zombieland? You were just talking about it. Did you enjoy it?
It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. I was surprised. I didn't know if I would like it or not. And so I went in with higher expectations than I should have, but I wasn't horribly disappointed. It wasn't bad. I love Woody Harrelson. I think he did a great job. And there's a Bill Murray cameo, which I thought was probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Total spoiler there.
I was supposed to say that.
I know.
That was a spoiler.
Sorry. Oops.
That's great. Gray did that by accident too. She was trying not to the whole time, and then she accidentally lets Bill Murray slip. I think she beeped it, but we're not beeping shit here.
We're not.
So.
This is
No,
last week.
that would take a second thought.
Bill Murray's in
do those.
Zombieland. Anything else, Kimmy?
I think those are the only two right now that I can recall.
How about you, Kent?
Okay, I got 3 movies I've watched over the last few weeks that were interesting. First is there's a movie that when I saw it in the theater, and it's a very popular movie, the certain group, I really didn't like it, and I've seen it again, and I think I've warmed to it a little, and that's The Rock.
Oh.
Michael Bay's 96. It's not a great movie, but since I've seen how terrible Michael Bay can be with the Transformers movies, and those are really ghastly, I kind of warmed to some of the things. It's a dumb movie, but it doesn't mind being dumb. Yeah, so I really.
Movies. So I was going to say that's one of the movies where you can practice your Sean Connery impersonation. That a lot of like The Rock is a tourist attraction. That's one.
Yeah, it's a fun, it's a stupid action movie, but I remember I really hated. This is the first movie I remember hating the editing on. And yeah, the action scenes are edited for crap.
They are. I agree.
And every character is really hyperbolic, but compared to the garbage that action movies have become in the last decade, it was pretty good.
It's
All right.
kind of sad that you have more respect for his work because all of his other work has been so crappy since.
Yeah. And I've seen this Transformers movies. Watching the third one was like going to the dentist and getting a root canal on a tooth that didn't have any problem.
Uh-huh.
Which anyone who's read the Marathon Man, they know that's the real
Oh
pain.
boy.
Okay, and just the other night, last night actually, I watched the first James Bond movie, Dr. No.
Oh.
I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 James Bond movies in my life. I've never been a fan of James Bond, and I figured, I like spy stories. I like action movies. And it reminded me, one, that action movies before about 1975 have terrible action. They really do. It's the fights are ghastly. The gunfights are silly.
It's not about the fighting; it's about the loving. Especially for
and
the
that's the other
James
thing.
Bond
There's
movies.
absolutely no romance to James Bond.
No romance.
It's basically I'm taking you.
It's all about the loving.
It's like watching animals mate. The way he takes his women, which is pretty awesome.
Cool.
And
Sean Connery again.
it's Sean Connery, but I find it a little difficult in retrospect to see from Dr. No how this became a worldwide franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an okay spy story.
Mhm.
Now, Dave, I'm sure you're a James Bond fan, and you've seen them all, I'm sure.
I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
That one's. I think really it started. It hit its stride by the time he did the third movie.
Okay.
Thunderball. I mean, Dr. No was good enough to where people thought, oh, we like this guy as
This might be
James
fun.
Bond.
Okay.
And Ursula Andress is in it, of course, the iconic pictures
The white
of her,
bikini.
calling
Yeah,
up
with
that white bathing suit with the knife thing sticking
the
out.
the white bathing suit, which occasionally disappears when she has her shirt on.
Dr. No has I like all the Connery ones the best, actually, and then I think I like the Daniel Craig ones the next best. Other
I
than
agree.
Spy Who Loved Me, which I saw as a kid, and I have kid goggles when I watch it, and I love it, even though it's terrible. There's a thing about Dr. No is I think I have to recall now from the Daniel Craig ones, but I think that's the only movie where we see James Bond actually kill a guy in cold blood.
Ooh.
And it's a bad guy, but he has a license to kill. It was there's a scene where this guy gets the drop on James Bond, or actually he sneaks into his room to kill him, and James gets the drop on him, and the guy is kind of he's answering some questions for Bond, and the guy goes for his gun and starts to shoot, but it dry fires. And so he's got the guy sitting there, and he says, "That's a Smith & Wesson, and you've had your 6," and he just shoots the guy, kills him.
Wow.
So pretty cool, but they never did that again.
Until Daniel Craig's.
I'm not sure. I have to watch those again. I've only seen each of those like one time, so I'd have to watch again.
Daniel Craig does kill.
He usually kills in fights, though, and like when in a fight. But this guy was, he could have easily called the police. He could have, the guy he had no gun, and he, shot him.
It kind of makes me think of how these like Indiana Jones. He killed tons of people in the first couple movies, and it went down and down. And then in Crystal Skull, it's implied he might have killed one guy, but yeah, it's which I think makes it a little. It's like the filmmakers getting more squeamish when they know kids are going to be watching.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar thing happened with a TV show I like a lot right now, Person of Interest.
Oh.
I think it's a great show. It's produced by Jonathan Nolan, Chris Nolan's brother, who wrote a lot of Chris Nolan's movies with him. And in the first half of the first season, the main character, played by Jim Caviezel, he's an ex-Special Forces guy, like every character in every thriller is an ex-Special Forces guy, and he kills people left and right in the first few episodes. And then by now in the middle of the third season, there's a lot of people getting shot in the knee.
When more people are watching the bullets hit the knee, I get it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a G.I. Joe thing where any time something explodes, you see like two frames of parachutes coming out.
Well, people do get killed in my novel, Whiskey Tango.
Excellent.
Nice plug there, sir.
A whole other kind of spy novel.
Okay, now I've got one more movie. I'm sorry, I've been taking a while with this. Dr. No is pretty good. Because it was cheap at Amazon and I like to buy things, I got like the Blu-ray set of all the James Bond movies.
Oh, got to bring those down when you come visiting in a couple weeks.
Yeah, no problem. And so I'll be watching them all. And so I got to be going through that. I saw another movie. This is a movie from the early '90s. It's
By the way, let me say, From Russia with Love, I like that one a lot. So just continue. Keep that in mind when you watch it.
This connects because we were talking No, we weren't. I mixed up. We were talking. This is Chris Eccleston. For a second, I thought it was Daniel Craig. It's by Peter Medic, who was a very fine director of films. Now he works almost exclusively in TV, but he directed The Changeling and Craze, a bunch of pretty good movies. This is called Let 'Em Have It, which is about a guy. It's a true story about a guy who had a brain injury during the Blitz in London. And he kind of falls in with a bad crowd when he gets out of school. He barely ever leaves his house. He's mentally retarded. And at one point, he gets in with some criminals who that they do something. And one of his friends has a gun, and the cop is telling him to get it. He tells his friend, "Let him have it," which he means let him have the gun. The guy, then his friend starts shooting, and then he gets arrested and he gets put to death.
Wow.
That's the end of the story. It's a sad, terrible, horrible little thing, but it's a pretty decent movie. It's interesting.
The director of The Changeling?
Yeah, Peter Medic. He's still directing. He's directing TV nowadays. He's directing. He directed a couple episodes of Hannibal.
Is he a British fellow?
Yeah.
I want to say he's British. Yeah.
He has to be with that name, Medic.
Oh wow, he's Hungarian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he also directed Species 2, which we know is the apex of the Species series. Species was always awful. But Changeling, I can't find any other really great movies. Zorro the Gay Blade, I think people find amusing. But he kind of just moved into TV. But Let Him Have It, it's good stuff.
I just remembered one other movie that I want Kent to watch that I saw. Have I mentioned to you Borgman? It's a movie from the Netherlands. It was released last year. I watched it at the Cannes Film Festival, and I just watched it again on video. It's about a family that kind of lets a vagrant into their home, but the vagrant is not what he seems.
Ooh.
And you see, like, the whole family, how their life just changes as a result of their encounter with this
he's the bum with the heart of gold or something?
It's more of a crazy, sick, twisted...
Okay, that sounds like something I'd write. So I'm going to check this out.
It's a thriller. It's a thriller.
Awesome.
Right, okay.
So Borgman, 2013, Borgman, and it's a very bizarre, oddball, not a typical thriller the way that it's filmed, but it's, for whatever reason, it kind of holds your interest because it's very bizarre how these, I don't know what they are, you really don't know what they are, but it's a vagrant and his cohorts.
Borg, does it have like two dots over the O or like a weird squiggly line over it? Being that it's one of those. Okay.
It's a last name, it seems. Yeah, I will check this out, Kimmy.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can we Netflix it?
Good question. I don't know if it should be on Netflix. I know it's been released and it's I guess it's with English subtitles, so I've seen them. So yeah, I think it's been released already on DVD. So why wouldn't it be on Netflix?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be available right now. I just checked it up, but hopefully soon.
Oh, okay.
So, Dave, this has been like a 55-minute sequence of us talking, of me mainly jabbing about movies and nobody cares. Have you seen anything over the last few weeks that you want to talk about?
I think the only thing I can remember watching completely is I went out to the theater last night. I went to the, as my dad would call it, the walk-in, as opposed to the drive-in. Went to the walk-in.
Did you see yourself a picture show at this walk-in?
Yeah, I saw a picture show. And went to the pictures, and I saw Noah. Noah.
Oh, Darren Aronofsky.
Yes, Darren Aronofsky, and obviously I'd seen a lot of hype on this movie. It made a lot of money. A lot of the religios are pissed off because of some liberties taken with the obviously factual account of a guy that saved the whole world in a flood a couple thousand years ago. So they better get the facts straight, right? Did I say that sarcastically enough? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was snotty, is what you said.
Snotty, a little snotty.
Or kind of like a snide person who takes the benefits of thousands of years of Western civilization, just kind of pisses on it.
No, I wouldn't do that. Because I actually like the story of Noah, and I like this movie too. I thought it was pretty damn good, actually. I was actually moved to tears probably 5 times.
Wow.
Jennifer Connelly
performance. You're kind of sappy. Was it style over substance, or was it a good script?
No, it's got a lot. Well, I'm seeing it as a movie that's adapting a story, not as that it's trying to be factual so much. Although I think there is a lot of they pulled a lot of things maybe from other parts where Noah is mentioned in the Bible, and other things there's things that are biblical that are in it. Mm-hmm. And they do add a fairly nauseating conservationist message to it. It's a little goofy, a little too much. But what they did right, actually Hollywood was very smart to do that because they're catching the religios on their way in because they want to see a movie about Noah and God and the flood and things like this, and they get that. But the crazy left-wingers who hate the Bible and hate God are going to love the conservationist global warming message too. See, I think this might end up being good. But I thought at its core it really was a story about a guy that we really like. You know what I always say, if you can get a character who we really like and put him in big trouble and surround him with some good people we want to survive, we will like this movie. And there's a lot of tension. The story takes some pretty dark turns that I didn't see coming, and I thought it was handled really well, and it played out in a very interesting way. Jennifer Connelly was especially good.
Yeah. And, the animals survive?
Yeah. Well, and
can you reveal that?
Very well deployed effects. Of course, an of course, well, most of the animals survive. I can't say, can't say.
Because we don't know how that all turned out.
Yeah. Is there a scene of a pair of unicorns being late for the ark? Because that's what I want to see.
No. They were right on time. They made it. They were like one of the first ones to get there.
Nice.
But as I said, very well deployed effects, and the performances were good. I really liked the direction it took, and it took. I think they expanded on the story pretty well, because I don't think the story of Noah is very long, really.
No stories in Genesis.
Yeah, they're pretty. Long. It's pretty short. They're not.
They're pretty thin. You have to pad stuff out.
And people are angry because he doesn't use the word God. It's like he says creator. Okay. Fine. Whatever. That didn't annoy me. I don't know what God's name is. He was calling the creator.
I think one of the prime annoyances is that in Noah, in the story of Noah in Genesis, it's very specific. The reason why God was saying everyone but Noah is because of immorality.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and specific sorts of immorality, Sodom and Gomorrah style immorality.
Yeah, so that was changed over to just a general wickedness and raping of the land and things like this. But there is the wickedness too. That's depicted in there as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The sexual licentiousness and the rape and pillaging and stuff. But I found it pretty enjoyable. I never thought there was no bad scenes. I had to run to pee and ran back.
So, you didn't hold it in?
No,
I
couldn't
hold it in. Water.
If only they had Conrad Co. technology that could tell when you were going to pee and have the little monitor there above the urinal, keeping you in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's slightly accelerated. I shouldn't say any more. I don't want to give this.
Have you gone through this before? Because I want you to lay out this invention for a movie. Have you gone through it before
on the podcast?
I've not heard
it before.
I will, but I'll get it more laid out. We'll do it in the future because we're kind of running along here. And we got a song and we got one of my favorite movies.
So anyway, yes, I am not a person who, even though I'm not religious, I don't throw out the Bible. I think it's definitely the greatest repository of wisdom that we have, and there is some weird stuff in there that I would kind of toss out. But for the most part, it's an excellent place to get your life lessons from. And this movie has a good one, I think, actually. The conservationist message actually doesn't win necessarily. Should I put it that way? Sort of. Because there are some folks running around who think that this Earth would be so great if only these pesky fucking people weren't on it. There's a lot of those type of people, and for a while it kind of delves into that area a little bit. It's interesting. But I like the way it played out.
So what you're saying is that it's not didactic, it's more of a conversation.
Actually, absolutely. There's a lot of the duality of man at work in there. Ray Winstone is a character in there who's a bad guy. They put all the stuff in that's biblical text in his mouth. They let him say that the animals are for man to dominate, that kind of thing like that. So they make him say all that stuff that they don't like. But there's a lot of conversation going on, a lot of interesting points brought up and about like why does God allow this, but or is it God's fault? It was a lot of interesting things going on. But Noah, very interesting character, and he's faced with a lot of interesting dilemmas that I thought were really well handled. And Aronofsky did a great job.
I like Aronofsky. I think he did a fantastic job. And he did Requiem for a Dream, if I'm not mistaken. And also the recent one with Natalie Portman.
Black Swan.
Mm-hmm.
Black Swan. I thought that was fantastic. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
He has a nice style, very dark style, I find.
So I recommend Noah, and yes, you will have to swallow some of the the changing around of the basic goal of why the flood is happening, but other than that, good adaptation, interesting. It's going to make you. It might make you even think.
You know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about a new song. A new song debuting tonight on Pretentious Movie Snobs.
That's right, nowhere else.
Written and performed by our own David W. Smith. D.W. Smith, as he's known on Amazon.
Accompanied by Sable Cantus on the guitar. And we recorded it at Sable's little studio. So
let's hear it.
It's a song about movie cliches.
Okay, I can't talk while it's going because I'm doing some mic work here. So
I'm going to get your reaction, Kimmy and Kent.
Right. So here we go. It'll be just a second.
Waitresses who can afford to buy houses, cops who are not understood by their spouses, hillbillies in Paris drink from bidets. These are my favorite movie cliches. He just got shot, but he's still kicking asses. Bartenders never stop wiping beer glasses. Knocked out 14 times, but he'll be okay. These are my favorite movie cliches. Close dead guy's eyes with your thumb and forefinger. Smoke in the bathroom, the smell doesn't linger. Yes, she's a hooker, but it's her first day. These are my favorite movie cliches. Girls who fall down when they run from guys in hockey masks. I simply remember those movie cliches, and then I don't have to ask.
Thank you very much.
You have to do a new song every week now, Dave.
Great. Put the pressure on. I love
that was fun. I like that.
I'm going to post it as a special bonus download for the.
I think you should. I love the wiping of the glasses. I remember you'd mentioned that before.
This is a funny thing. This kind of ties in. I did some acting camps when I was in high school, and when I went to one, it was in my senior year. For a monologue, I put together some of the lines from the final scene in Angel Heart. And made a monologue out of it, and when I was first doing it, I wasn't doing very well. And the guy who was directing me, we had like a bunch of instructors. He was the only one who was any good. He was terrific, and he would tell me that, okay, hey, you know what? Why don't you instead of whatever you've got in mind, because I clearly didn't have anything in mind, pretend you're a bartender. Sit there wiping a glass, and then it became awesome. I was totally transported. People were, "Oh, that's pretty good." I like that, Dave.
Could you hear the line about the hillbillies in Paris drink from bidets?
Drink from bidets, yeah.
I missed that one.
What was the very last line? I didn't get it. And then I don't feel so what?
Feel so bad, I guess, or have to ask. Then I don't have to ask.
Then I don't have to ask. Okay, cool. That's fine. That was cool stuff.
It was.
That was fun. And it should also be noted that Dave knows a lot about movie cliches because there's a book that was put out by Roger Ebert, the late Roger Ebert, called it's Roger Ebert's little book of movie
cliches, I think, right?
Movie cliches. Two of them are there by David W. Smith. One of them, indeed, is about bartenders always wiping their glass. Is that right?
Yeah, it's called the Bartender Establishing Shot.
Yeah, and the other one is is it the gun one?
Yeah, the cocking of the gun rule. Yes, that's where the bad guy doesn't believe he's going to get shot by the good guy until he cocks the gun and then he backs down.
It doesn't even. If you have a semi-automatic, that doesn't make sense. The gun cocks every time you. I know. Not every gun is a revolver.
Shoot me, and then they pull the hammer back, and then I guess you're serious.
It even happens in one of my very favorite movies, The Thing. But because that's when McCready is it. Keith Davis right in his face is he's telling him that we could all rush him. Then Colonel says, "I mean it." I guess you do.
That was done better in the Steven Seagal movie Above the Law, where he was surrounded by like 8 guys and he had one gun, and then one guy goes, "You can't get all of us," and he shoots that guy right in the face.
Ooh.
And then he goes, "Anybody else?" And they're all standing there, and nope, I'm not going to be next. So that's great.
That brings me on to my very favorite. I think we talked about it when we did the show, but my very favorite part in Iron Man 3, where Tony Stark is going through the thing. He's shooting guys left, right. Gets to one guy, he drops his gun, and said, "I hate this job. These guys are so weird."
I love that.
That was good.
That was one of my favorite scenes. Yeah.
Good old Shane Black humor, right?
Yeah. That was a laugh, and there's not a whole lot of laughs in the movie we're talking about tonight, which is Angel Heart.
Woo-hoo.
Directed, I'm going to do my little synopsis spiel here. Directed in 1987 by Alan Parker, who has directed a lot of great stuff that you've probably even seen things of his you didn't know. Where it is a story of Harry Angel, a private detective in mid-1950s New York, who gets a strange new client who wants him to find an old crooner called Johnny Favorite. As Harry Angel does his investigations, he gets deeper and deeper into a weird sort of cycle of voodoo and Satanism. He goes down to New Orleans, and then things get really bad.
When I first had seen that, someone told me about this movie back when they said it's about Harry Angel, and I thought, did an Armenian guy dies and goes to heaven? Sorry, Armand.
No.
Armenians are very hairy. I don't know why.
It's because, well, if you look at their arm hair, there's a lot of it. I've never seen an Armenian with his shirt off. I probably have. I played water polo against Glendale.
That is
Anyway,
there's some
Angel
inside
Heart.
jokes going on here with the LA crowd. Yeah, so continue.
Angel Heart. Now, Angel Heart is one of my absolute favorite movies. I first saw it in the late '90s, and it's one thing I like about it is that it has layers. It reveals more of itself. More you watch it. It's a deeply atmospheric movie too. It doesn't just kind of go headlong into its plot, which makes it maybe a little slow at times. That Kimmy's shaking her head because I think now I've seen this several times. I'm sure Dave, you'd seen it before, right?
Oh yeah.
And Kimmy, this is your first.
So I saw it in the theater opening night.
Oh my God!
Wow.
They wouldn't have let me in with the scene with Monet.
Don't treat me any differently.
I'm pretty sure that Kimmy, this is the first time you've seen it.
It was the first and now first and second because I watched it back to back 2 days in a row just to make sure whatever I'd missed the first day.
Well, that doesn't sound like something you do with a movie you didn't like.
Why would you think I wouldn't like it? I've liked many of your recommendations. Mr.
I know. But it's a movie that doesn't. In a certain circle of folks, they like it, but it didn't get a lot of play. It didn't make a lot of money when it first came out, which I think kind of makes sense.
Well, I will tell you, I did like it. I liked it more than I had anticipated because of all those negative reviews, and I think it was actually a very well-written, well-directed, well-done movie altogether. Yeah, especially Robert De Niro. I think this is one of the most unique roles that he has had ever. He's such a stereotype in his later films, but I thought he's like a caricature of the same person. Except for like Taxi Driver when he was younger or Raging Bull. But I thought he did a fantastic job. I think he did a good job. It's a good movie.
I think it's one of the first movie roles he had where he wasn't a gangster, so he probably jumped right on it.
Yeah.
I guess he's the ultimate gangster, though. See.
Well, Robert De Niro plays Louis Cypher, who is the client who hires Harry Angel to find Johnny Favorite.
By the way, I think we're going to go into the spoiler lounge later, right? Should we tell the listeners that you can? We're not going to spoil much until the.
Right now we're in the spoiler lobby.
Yeah, we're in the spoiler lobby.
Because it can be hard to talk about a lot of this movie.
It's going to be hard. I think we may need to go inside the lounge soon.
Yeah.
But one thing about this movie, though, I was just about to give Kimmy the floor, but I'm taking it again. One thing about this movie I really like, and it's the sort of thing you forget in between viewings, it's been a few years since I've seen it when I watched it again, is how nicely textured it is. And this is, I think a lot of it has to do with Mickey Rourke's performance. This is one of Mickey Rourke's last performances before he destroyed his face.
That's weird. Thank you.
Yeah, because he looked kind of, he still looked handsome back then. He was roguish. I think it was Roger Ebert or maybe someone else said he looks like an unmade bed. And I think that's kind of it's kind of like it. And he's a very physical performer. There's this great early scene he has when he's first looking for Johnny Favorite. Johnny Favorite was a crooner in the war, quite famous in his own way, and he who has disappeared because he has a contract with Louis Cypher. Spoiler lobby. And he goes to check out because he was in the war. He got badly damaged. He was supposed to be a vegetable sitting in a hospital for 12 years. So Harry Angel goes to check up on the story, and so he has this great little interaction with a nurse where he's flirting with her and he's talking with her. It's so conversational, the scenes. There's nothing really kind of staid about it. It has a really lived-in feel. There's some other scenes like where he's going on the street to meet Louis. He's just going to meet Louis Cypher to give him his report, and he just meets a girl that he knows and talks about it. I love that dialogue. That's your boyfriend? Yeah, it's got a car and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Go ahead, hon.
And it's kind of like because it has this sort of level of normalcy that then kind of degrades as the movie goes through and gets weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really sets itself up nicely, I think.
I love the tone of it. Like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of those old film noirs, even though it's, maybe because of the period of it, the detective that has a case and there's a mysterious lady and it has such a nice feel to it and that whole tone throughout the movie. And then it gets weirder and weirder and it moves away from that theme to something else. But it transitions very nicely.
I can scratch two of those off my list. I was going to say the same thing. It's got a very pervasively uneasy, ominous tone throughout the whole. It gets worse and worse, and it is very reminiscent of the film noir. So
right,
we're simpatico on that, Kimmy
Yeah.
and Kent.
Absolutely, that it has that sense, and what I like is that it brings up a lot of mysterious stuff that it does not explain.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't do it because there's I think there's some like David Lynch movies where there's stuff it doesn't explain but it feels like BS. It's like you just did that to be weird, but I like the beginning of the movie. I kind of everyone who's listening to us, because I assume everyone's listened to every episode. You're obsessive fans. Heard us talk about Save the Cat, and I wanted to see if I could map this movie on to the beat sheet. And it works. It gets a little muddled towards the middle, but consider that there's let me go through the beats real quick of the sheet. It's like the opening image. Who cares? It's like it starts out with an opening image.
Isn't it a dead woman in the snow?
Yeah, it's a dead person in the snow, never explained.
Yeah,
and, with who you assume is Louis Cypher just walking by. Because it got the cane. It's you don't know though. And then after he does some of the investigating and the first person he talks to, right after he talks to him, he comes back. He ends up dead. Who killed him? Mystery. And then he starts really kind of looking into who Louis Cypher is. And so he goes back because when he does his first meeting with Louis Cypher, it's in his very strange Harlem church. Where they seem to be worshiping the priest as much as whatever god they have. And then he goes back there and he finds some kind of crazy Santeria stuff, and he's chased off. And none of that ever gets explained, but it stays there linked.
That's actually, this movie has this movie goes pretty wild, but there's a part there that I actually, it's weird. I believe everything in this movie except where he outruns the two black guys. I was like, oh, come on.
Oh.
Well, he had a couple dogs in between them, so I think.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe he told him there was a ghost. I know black people are scared of ghosts.
Are we?
They're inordinately afraid of ghosts.
I saw that on South Park, I think.
They're not really afraid. They just.
That's all I know about black people.
They're not as stupid about the ghosts as white people. White people just wander and start talking to the ghosts and hang out and live with them. And black people are like, we can't stay. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Eddie Murphy had that joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and he knocks over the whole procession where they're carrying the guy and some sort of. That's just it's so weird. That's the thing I love. One of the many things I love about this movie is how layered the strangeness is.
Mm-hmm. There's that scene where he walks past that church and there are those two girls that are sitting and then they look out at him and I think they're wearing these really bright, vibrant colors. And it's just so eerie though how the door. I think it was the door. But these two girls are just sitting there, and they look so creepy. Almost reminds me of, remember in The Shining when they have the two sisters, the twin sisters at the end? Yeah. That it gave me that same kind of creepy feeling. But
that's the shots like that in this movie remind me of they're a little Friedkin-esque too. The Exorcist has some moments like that where it's kind of just a normal thing, but somehow he makes it super duper creepy.
Yeah, which is a talent.
And in that scene, very quietly on the soundtrack, you can hear whispered, "Harry, Harry," which happens throughout the movie. Oh yeah, I watched it several times when I was in high school. I haven't seen it so much. I saw it. I have the Blu-ray of it, of course. Actually, this is for people who like Mickey Rourke movies. You can get it on a 2-pack Blu-ray with this and Johnny Handsome.
Oh.
Which is another pretty. It's a really good Mickey Rourke sort of noirish movie where that in that movie Mickey Rourke is. This is the eerie thing about that movie. It starts out with Mickey Rourke with a really horrible face, is like disfigured from birth.
Oh my
which
goodness.
Looks like Mickey Rourke looks now. Oh, but then he gets like plastic surgery. And comes out looking like regular Mickey Rourke.
I got to try to put that on the blog, like like a comparison. By the way, my bed is so awful looking; it's never made. It looks like Mickey Rourke's face now does. So that's how my unmade bed is bad.
It's so sad.
I'm glad we're all in agreement as to the quality of the film. We think you should watch it, and if you haven't seen it, this is about the time you should stop on the podcast and. Maybe hang out somewhere other than the Spoiler Lounge.
Yes, we're gonna go in a minute. Make sure you check out the podcast. Well, tell a friend about the podcast and buy my novel Whiskey Tango.
Did you have something?
And buy Kent's novels too.
I'm just joking. No, I'm getting ready for the spoiler alert.
Yeah,
but I will say when I first, like the first couple of scenes, I was like, I hope this isn't one of Kent's weird movies that it just is just not way out there, but in a way that there's some of these random movies that you like. But this one, it has that randomness to it, but it holds your attention. Like I know you were saying it was slow. It held my attention from the beginning to the end.
Because it has a strong story.
It does.
It has a set goal for this guy. He's got to find this Johnny Favorite, and that's the impetus for the whole thing. I have a real big tolerance for weird movies. I got that, but this thing, a lot of them sometimes I enjoy the randomness, but the stories aren't entirely defensible. Defendable. But this one is.
It's a Freudian slip. Yeah.
All right.
Are we
in the lounge?
We are going to go up to the spoiler lounge right now, so goodbye everybody who doesn't want to come and find out the secrets of Angel Heart.
Yeah, good night.
But come back and listen to it after you watch the movie.
So,
goodbye, and now let's walk up the stairs to the spoiler lounge where we are overlooking...
We really need to get the Playboy After Dark music for this.
Oh, that would be great. Okay.
Okay,
I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Are we in the lounge?
We are now in the spoiler lounge.
Okay. Louis Cypher is the devil. Harry Angel is Johnny Favorite.
Okay, hold on. I have got to tell you.
You got to lube up the audio. You can't just dry anal people like that. You got to lube it up a little bit.
I'm the Max Hardcore of movie spoilers.
Who's that? Hardcore? Oh.
If you don't know, you don't want to know.
I don't. I'm gonna just step away. But here's what kills me. From very early, I was like, he's never gonna find this Johnny Angel, not Johnny Angel.
Johnny
It was
Favorite.
Harry Angel, and then it was Johnny.
Yeah, it's Mickey Rourke's Harry Angel. He's looking for Johnny Favorite, real name Johnny Liebling.
Which is another term, I guess, of well-liked or something like that.
Yeah,
in German.
yeah.
But I was like, this guy is not going to find Johnny Favorite, whether he realizes it or not. And then as we get more and more into the story, I see him flirting with the Lisa Bonet's character. And then I was like, I had to stop myself. I was like, okay, he's flirting with this woman, and she's already said it, and I already know that, Johnny's the father. I would guess that. I was like, no, maybe he's not Johnny after all, because he's flirting pretty hard with her. And I was like, no, it's not. This isn't going to happen. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's going to be this kind of movie. But I was talking myself out of it. As soon as he started flirting with her, I was like, he's not Johnny. He can't be. And he was. Yeah. That was a disturbing scene.
I know who I am.
And,
you're going to burn for this, Angel.
You know what bothers me? I didn't get the Louis Cypher. I understood he was some variation of the devil or Satan, but I didn't get it with the name, which is so stupid after the fact.
Like I said,
I know, yeah.
Even your name's a dime store joke.
I know. There's the pronunciation.
That's called hanging a lantern on it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I like about Satan in this movie is he's actually... yes, he's a murderous a-hole, but very honorable with the contract.
Yeah,
he would not take it until he remembered that he had agreed to. He remembered who he was and that he'd agreed to the thing. It's like I thought that was very good.
Well, very honorable. But I love how in just about every scene Robert De Niro has, he basically tips his hand. The very first scene when they shake hands and. Haven't I seen you somewhere?
I know you somewhere. Yeah.
Or then when the later scene when he's at lunch and he's eating the egg, says, "Yo, in some religions say the egg is a symbol of soul. You want an egg?" and then the shot of him eating it.
That was weird.
Yeah.
But did you guys read up that was his impersonation of Martin Scorsese?
I've heard that before. Yeah, I think that's funny.
Yeah.
What for the whole performance or just that scene?
No,
well, the whole
performance.
Well, it was the time he's got the beard. He's got the Martin Scorsese beard.
Yeah, I have heard that. I forgot about that. Yeah, it does ring a bell.
He looks like Martin Scorsese when he's in the back of his truck Taxi and Taxi Driver. When he says it, which also includes the line, "Forgive me, anyone who hears me." Like, you ever seen what a gun could do to a woman's pussy? Which happens in Angel Heart. Oh my God! It all comes together.
Wow.
Because is that not your gun up her snatch?
Yeah,
I love I love the racist cops in this movie.
Yes.
And
I don't love them, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're great like characters. One of them is a big racist jerk. The other one who is holding the baby, and he's clearly he doesn't know what to do. That leads to the one thing I do not like in this movie.
The eyes in the end.
Yeah, that was like when you're about to consummate, asking at the end, well, do you really wanna? No, you just push on through. It was a lack of confidence there.
Well, they were saying that he was hesitant or he was reluctant to put that scene in there, so I don't know if there was pressure from the studios, but
that could be.
Yeah, I don't think he's 100% happy about it, and I don't think it was needed with Robert De Niro either. And I still don't know what that really means. If it was that was De Niro's baby, or if it was Johnny.
Is it Christ or something?
That's the problem. It just is creepy thing, which wasn't really creepy.
Yeah, and plus it was like Sid and Marty Krofft style special effects. Yeah. It was the quality of like Land of the Lost from the 70s.
Yeah, when I saw it, first time I've seen it on Blu-ray, I didn't realize that the entire shot is a still picture of the kid's face. It doesn't move. I didn't see that before. I thought, they just changed the eyes. No, they couldn't just change. They changed the whole damn face. It's like, that looks terrible. But then they have that great metaphor or end credits thing with Mickey Rourke going down in the elevator.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Kent, do you ever back your car into a driveway, like or do you just park out front? Like if you're going to the driveway, do you back your car in?
I do now, but that's because I have a lot of neighbors who like to walk down the street, and I don't want to back into them, so I go up for it.
How about you, Kimmy? Do you back into a driveway, or do you just like pull in and then pull back out?
Well, since I no longer have a car.
Oh, good point.
My accident, boo-hoo.
Wow, that.
Yeah.
Insensitive.
But
Thanks.
before you just park regular, I'm,
Activity.
I'm sniffing out something about human nature here, and I think a lot of our friend Todd,
Oh,
he backs his car into to his spot, and
because it's easier to get out.
yeah, you're thinking ahead, and I think people that's the kind of person who also has a savings account, a retirement account. They're thinking ahead. These are not the type of people that sell their soul to the devil. You know? That you'd never find one of these people making a bargain like Harry Angel made.
Johnny Favorite.
Johnny Favorite, right?
Harry Angel was the innocent victim.
Right. Harry Angel was the
love
bastard whose body he took over.
Okay, well, let's talk about exactly what happened, though, because it's hard to follow even when you hear it. From my understanding, what happens is Johnny Favorite, he got shell-shocked, he got badly damaged, then he came back, he was okay, he could get out of the hospital, they found a random victim in Times Square, Harry Angel, took him to the apartment, cut his heart out and ate it. So that Harry Angel's soul. So then, does that mean that did Johnny Favorite then his soul go into Harry Angel's body and he lived as Harry Angel?
Yes.
Or did he just get his reconstructive surgery to look like Harry Angel when he was actually Johnny Favorite? Because Harry Angel's the implication is Harry Angel's soul went to hell, and then the devil said, "Okay, this guy thinks he can screw with me."
Yeah, it's basically I'm getting out of this by becoming someone else and losing my memory, so I can't be held accountable for what I did, or my agreement.
But didn't he lose his memory because of the war? I mean, if Johnny,
think so, yeah.
if Harry Angel did not, he would have remembered he was the devil. No. Or not.
I would think that would happen during
Johnny.
the process of the switchover. Maybe he assumes the other guy's identity, because I don't know how the plan would be made if he had, or did Margaret Kruzmark and the other people just do it on their own to get him out? Because did they?
They
know
wanted
about
to
it?
get away from him.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
Here's the important question. Did he use Tapatio when he ate that heart? Because Tapatio makes everything taste better.
I would put Red Rooster on my beating hearts.
I don't think he had time. It had to still be beating. Yeah, you got to start on that heart real quick.
Well, you got to have the cap off, and you got to be ready. You got to
You gotta be ready, because that's gonna be easier to take that all in. You need a little seasoning. I'm just saying.
Now, so I've got another question, which is something that what's the significant? What was it actually the devil committing these murders?
Or was
Harry Angel doing it when he was insensate? Because at the very end, we see Louis Cypher taking a gun out, and then later we see the hooded figure sitting outside is Robert De Niro. You can see the hood because he's right outside.
And the tags. He had taken the tags. I don't know if you said that because the screen cut out a second ago. But did he possess him, do you think?
Well, he did say, he said, you killed them, but guided by my hand. With my help or whatever, guided by my hand or whatever. So the devil made me do it, sort of. That element is in there. He can control, but he wanted him to realize who he was before he took him, which I think was good.
But the one scene, though, with all the scenes I remember, and this was really cool, I guess the fan would go backwards when he kind of lost consciousness, or
it would go Widdershins. Yeah.
Widdershins, is that a German Yiddish word or something?
No, it's English. It's for counterclockwise.
I love that.
And,
I never noticed that.
Satanistic stuff, or devil stuff, or witch stuff, you go Widdershins.
Interesting. I never noticed that it was going the other way. It's funny.
No. The thing is that there was going to be a payoff for that in the movie. I think we're talking over Kimmy here, who had something more to say. I'll be quick because Winesap, the lawyer, he's killed. It happens off screen, but they had actually shot. You can see production photos of Alan Parker sitting with a decapitated body.
Yeah, you can see in a couple of the flashbacks. You do see that Alan Weiss guy. But the question to me, it just flew out of my head. I know that the fan was supposed to go backwards when he was like in a trance, but in the scene with the Lisa Bonet's character, she was fine because if you remember, the police officers came the first time. They'd already finished having sex, and if I gave it away, you guys, yes, he has sex with his daughter.
His daughter. It's like Old Boy.
Spoiler lounge.
Spoiler for Old Boy.
I had brought up Moliere because Moliere had an affair with a woman and then her daughter, but it wasn't his real daughter, so that's not as creepy.
Wait, you can't spoil other movies in here. You got to warn you can't spoil Old Boy.
Can I spoil Chinatown?
No, the people.
Well, now you've already given it away just by saying
that.
You've all seen Chinatown, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Chinatown.
Okay, because in Chinatown,
don't do it.
We're going to go into the spoiler antechamber of the spoiler lounge now. If you want to talk about Chinatown.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about Chinatown. I'm not going to talk about Old Boy.
We're going to talk about
Chinatown. Yeah.
By the way, can I just say, if you want an avalanche of pussy, change your name to Herman Weinsap. Did that make you wet, Timmy? If you're at a bar and you go, yeah, my name's Herman Weinsap, it'll just dry up your loins so fast.
Pass, yes.
Pass. Yeah, that's what I thought. Poor guy.
I want us to do maybe a podcast on Chinatown because I think it might be overrated. I'd like to see if you guys agree or disagree. You probably don't. I would like to have a debate.
I really like the movie, so I haven't seen it for a while.
That might be a good one, yeah.
I will. Well, here's the thing: is whatever you have to say about it. I've got the Blu-ray with a commentary by David Fincher, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer any questions you got. Any complaints? Ha! I don't know.
I damn near lost my nose, and I like my nose. I like breathing through it. Little line from Chinatown.
It does have a spousal abuse laugh. You don't get a lot of those in movies nowadays. You see the woman with the black eyes.
Yeah, it is a laugh. I forgot about that. You're screwing like a Chinaman. All right, that's a great movie. Come on. Oof. By the way, there's this. Did we talk about sex? Oh, I was just talking about not getting laid. The sex scene in this movie with the secretary chick that's helping him out.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's a great scene, but she's awful. She sounds like a porn actress rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? She is so bad. And then that chick in the water later, the fat chick in the water at Coney Island, she's terrible too. It's like, oh god.
I liked her.
Their voices. Well, she's a good actor. She's good. I like her, but dialogue, wooden tin ear style delivery of that dialogue.
I liked how she spoke because it was reminiscent of how people spoke during those days, actually. So I enjoyed that.
Howard Hawksian, I guess you're saying. Yeah. She, Margaret Kruzmark is Madame Zora or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
What are you guys? What did you call her? Gazumba?
Madame Zora? What?
Don't be a gazooni, fella. Madame Zora was Margaret Kruzmark.
That was very old-timey.
That scene has another one of my very favorite exchanges in the movie when he's talking to her husband, the geek.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I have like a transcript of it here.
What he does in the summer and what
yeah. It's like
it's a good line.
So what do you do around here in the summers? Bite the heads off of rats. What do you do in winter? Same thing.
Yeah, a good line.
Or another just fun line. I love it when the cops come into his room unannounced and they're about to leave and he looks at one of them and says, "Hey, today's You ever watch the Mickey Mouse Club?
I love that line.
Today's Wednesday. Anything can happen day."
Yeah, so great.
And that's I love with that sort of texture where every line of dialogue isn't just about the facts, where you get the sense that Johnny Favorite really likes living in Harry Angel's life. That he wants to hold on to this, and he doesn't care what he did to this guy to get it.
Yeah.
So he deserves at the end when...
Is that a missing character, though, the real Harold Angel? No, we never get to meet him. I wonder what...
Well, there's an internet theory, and those are always credible.
Yes.
That Louis Cypher is the real Harry Angel. That the devil said, yeah, you go up there and you get this. You give this guy what he's coming for.
He sort of became like he said, well, I'll let you go if you go get the real guy. That's an interesting theory.
And then that he's actually going through. I think I've heard people say that Alan Parker mentioned something about that. That's why he's at the end with Robert De Niro with no beard is really Harry Angel. That the whole beard and thing was all just a mask.
Well, that's interesting because that would explain why the devil would bother doing it. Like, why would he bother? Yeah. Why would he care? So that's interesting.
That scene when they have the that might make sense. The soldier over at Times Square, and you only see a portion, like a
you only see a little bit of his face. You don't see the whole thing.
Was that Robert De Niro too? Because
I don't know.
That didn't look like him, but if that was supposed to be the same person, that would be interesting.
Because I've read, now this is based on a novel written by William Hortzberg, who people might know best for writing the movie Legend. And William Hortzberg is an interesting guy. His first draft of the screenplay of Legend, what he wanted to happen was for Tom Cruise to find the princess at the end, and he finds her having sex with a dog.
Oh.
I don't remember why, but it was very. It's like
Well,
I think
it was Mr. Peabody though. It was like a time travel thing, so it was
But
okay.
he wanted it to be like the Tom Cruise character go through all this to get this princess, and then he finds her degraded, screwing dogs.
Wow.
Which was never going to happen. But
I like to read that draft.
Yeah, so he wrote this novel in 1978, I think it is. The name of the novel is Falling Angel. It never goes to New Orleans. That's all new to the movie.
I think it's a nice touch, though.
Yeah, I think it makes the movie so much more. I think the movie's better than the book. The book is the book has basically the same story. It makes it much clearer or much more specific that this is Louis Cyphre is going around shooting people and blaming you. Yeah, so it's I like the movie better. I've read the book. I'm a big fan of books. I like reading. I like words.
You do.
But this is just bad.
There's like 4 or 5 words I like, and the rest can just go fuck it, fuck this.
But no, I think this is a movie that it should not be lost to time. This is a movie that deserves a larger following. It is so much its own thing. It's a really unique sort of thing.
I was gonna say it's nice that there's no sequels. There's no Angel Heart 2. There's no Angel Lungs. There's no Angel Pancreas, The Quickening. None of that shit. It's just Angel Heart.
I was going to say, Dave, you know that scene where he does have sex with that reporter girl? They say in the deleted scenes they actually showed that her dead body, that she actually does die. We don't see what happens. So then that we get that hint that he is the one that's doing the crimes at the hand of...
And everyone connected with Harry Angel gets killed.
Yeah. And at the beginning, you almost think that he's not doing it, but then, there's that line that Robert De Niro says about a snail, a slug that always leaves...
you know what they say about slugs, Harry? No, what do they say
I
about
don't.
slugs? They always leave slime in their tracks.
There you go. And he leaves slime, but he doesn't realize he's the slime leaver.
That's this movie. Another thing I really love about it is the soundtrack. Which is a mix of a bunch of synthesizer stuff. It was the guy who did it. He was, if any of you guys know there about keyboards and stuff, the Fairlight, I think, or no, this is Synclavier. It was all synthesizer, really early sampling stuff. So it was a lot of that mixed with this fantastic saxophone playing by Courtney Pine. It's all to the melody of the song that stuck in Harry Angel's head, which was one of Johnny's favorite songs, "The Girl in My Dreams."
I love that. I love where he's singing it from the very beginning, but they don't mention it because the woman that the crazy lady at the beach, she's singing, I think, a different song.
Yeah, she said that's I think that's great. There used to be this thing that directors would have. It was called respect for the audience, where they would think you might be able to put 2 and 2 together. Or they might think, hey, if you see this movie a second time, you'll see more. You don't need everything like spooned out to you.
That's great.
I love it.
But I love how it's Lisa that sings it afterwards, and then it's a song that Johnny sang, and then it's very well done.
Of my dream, baby, you are so sweet. Yeah. I think we've put a good amount of weight on this thing, haven't we?
Yes.
We've been going for over an hour.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I just gotta say the very last lines in the movie are also fantastic. I love it when the cops are talking to Johnny after the horrible things. You're gonna what's this? You're gonna burn for this, Angel. I know. In hell. Cue soundtrack. Cue horrible baby face. Cue elevator going down with Mickey Rourke in it. Oh man.
Nicely done.
Well, next week's going to be an interesting show because what I'm doing right after this show, I'm going to get into my time machine. I'm going to travel back to 1986. I'm going to show Mickey Rourke a picture of himself now. So he may decide not to. No, you don't want to.
You think he might not box? He might stay an actor.
Yeah, he might stay an actor.
Oh wow!
I do that. What do you think? Should I go or not?
I think, look, the thing is, I don't think it'll work because Mickey Rourke has had at least 2 comeback performances that he totally screwed over. He was Marv in Sin City, and it's like, oh wow, Mickey Rourke's back. Then he did nothing.
Mhm.
Then he was in The Wrestler. It's like, oh, Mickey Rourke's back. Then he had a terrible role in Iron Man 2 and did nothing.
That was awful. Yeah.
I don't think Mickey Rourke can be helped.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll go back to the idea about killing Hitler as a baby instead of showing Mickey Rourke a picture of himself. All right.
All right. So I guess that's it then. We're
I think
Unless
we are
anyone else has
done.
anything
What
to
are we
say,
talking
but
about next weekend? Next week, I mean.
We'll be talking
Truman Show.
about The Truman Show, which is
Truman Show.
Kimberly's selection for one of the movies that she thinks has been a little lost to modern audiences, movies that need to be reevaluated, movies that people should be watching now, directed by the great Peter Weir.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
All right, then.
it's very prophetic, I think, and not pathetic, but prophetic. So yeah. So we've put our weight on this bad boy.
All right.
Our weight has been put on it. I thank you for listening and downloading.
Wait, it's put.
And don't forget to buy my novel, everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
we'll
Kent's
actually,
novels, too.
Yeah, you can try that. Dead First.
Yeah, Dead First with a U. First
Yeah.
with a U.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so clever.
It is.
All right, well, I'll see you kids next week, and thank you for listening, everybody, and over and out. Good night and good luck. Or what are all the cliches that...
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's a preview.
Harry. Johnny.
I'm going to stop this broadcast right now.
We've been David Smith, Ken Conrad, and Kimberly Blagrove of the Pretentious Movie Snobs.
All right. We are out.
Goodbye.
Okay, cool.